Joining us is our political editor, the always excellent Andrew Clennell. Andrew, good to see you today. So, I mean, no surprise that stage 3 tax cuts passed through last night with the support of the opposition. But I guess how does this, even though it's not going to come into play until July 1, how does it feed into Dunkley this weekend?
Well, I think if they hadn't have done it, they'd be losing Dunkley. And I say that because Labor's worried about Dunkley. So it's clearly a close contest. I've been reporting that since Sunday. The Liberals, though, they don't think they can get there. So, look, I guess they've got to hope their instincts are wrong. But I think it'll be a tight contest. I think we're looking at a 4% swing against the government. That'll be about 52-48.
So how does
Picking up some
you go.
feedback. Sorry, Pete, just let me say this. Apparently Labor are there at the booze. I've heard this from Liberal sources, I should hasten to add, saying vote for Jodie Belaid, you know, honour the legacy of Peter Murphy. So that's kind of a convincing message out there because she was so well respected in the community. Whereas the Liberals are saying, you know, you won't change the government but send a message on cost of living. So you can imagine if they hadn't have done that backflip on the tax cuts, and they keep saying it's not about Dunkley, but of course it was about Dunkley, particularly the timing. They'd be in all sorts, I think, Labor, but I think that's probably going to be enough. I mean, we've seen in the polls they've got what's called a dead cat bounce, potentially. They haven't really got a bounce, but they stem the bleeding in terms of the results going south for them in the polls.
Yeah, so when, they went through the Senate 3 days ahead of the by-election, so, you know, you can draw the link there.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, what a coincidence indeed. Now, the Prime Minister using this 7% swing, anything less than that, you know, is passable. So if it is 4%, like you say, I mean, is that something that he can lean on? He's like, oh, well, it's not as bad as I said.
Well, I think 4%'s a draw. I've been saying that for a couple of days now. So both sides would be happy with 4%. You know, it wouldn't be a bad thing if this government got a kick in the backside. There's a bit of hubris out there. Aston might have given them a disservice, some people argue. I mean, you always want an extra seat, but after that, there was a lot of hubris. They went ahead with the voice. That was a spectacular failure. They didn't amend it at all. So it's never a bad thing for a government to get a little check along the way to realise they need to recalibrate and work a bit harder. I just think if they can survive in Dunkley, they then unveil a much bigger cost of living relief package in the May budget. And then they're starting to look a lot better on track. But their biggest problem will still be this inflation. We get the figures today. Is it sticky? Is all the wage increases they've fought for going to make that more sticky for longer, prevent the rate cuts, put them in a worse electoral position? How ironic to fight for lifting people's wages, but in the long run, it might cause a political problem for you.
Yeah, Ed Boyd, he's already mentioned today that it's expected to bump up ever so slightly today when those figures come out by the ABS a little later on. Now, we've just got some pictures that you sent us, Andrew, that I want to discuss. Let's play them for you, folks. This is happening today in the halls.
Piggy, look.
We get a couple of piggies in the trough. So what's it all about, Andrew?
Well, I walked in this morning and saw that, so, you know.
You're like, oh, okay, just another day in Canberra.
Yeah, pretty much. Bob Katter and Andrew Wilkie, right? And they're pretending to be Coles and Woolworths, saying they got their snouts in the trough, they're price gouging, etc. But it'll certainly get a run on the TV news as you'd expect. But gee, I mean,
no, it's good.
This
colour.
Place, it's always throwing up surprises, particularly early in the morning when I'm coming for a Pete Stefanovic interview. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I tell you what, it's been a rough couple of news days, so it's not all that bad to laugh at something. Andrew, appreciate that. Thank you.